Howdy kumquat, long time no see. Welcome back to Artists in the Wild. I'm Trixie Little and I'm here for a Scuttlebutt Artist Chat among the daffodils. They're actually on their way out here. Spring came so early. It's been so unseasonably warm and delightful out here in Northern California. And gosh, sometimes, first of all, I want to apologize for my absence because it's a Mercury retrograde flavored technical difficulty. And I always know that these are just opportunities to reconsider how we're doing things. So I'm just really leaning into it. But my trusty 2014 MacBook is in the shop. There's like, this military, I don't know, what is he, like an ex-retired hacker or something? I don't know, who fixes old Apple stuff in town. So I took it to him and he replaced the battery, the charging port, the charger was the wrong size even. There was all kinds of problems. Circuits got fried, things may have been lost. We don't know which way is up, and now the screen won't go, and it's like a couple $100 part. And I had a friend offer to fix it for me, but then he just was like, oh, screw it, I'll just get you a new computer. And now he doesn't want to pay for the old one to get fixed, but I kind of need the old one fixed too. So I'm hoping that at the end of this retrograde, I have both computers and we can make the best of both worlds, because I really love keeping old equipment going. You guys know that. You've seen my truck, 2000 Toyota Tacoma. Love that thing. It's so satisfying keeping old things going, and it's really satisfying restoring old wood, which is one thing I'm doing this week as well. So let me just catch you up on what's been going on. I am very sorry for the long absence. Please know that it's never it's never intentional when I just go radio silent. But sometimes I do wonder if I'm just like, it could just be so easy to just slip off and disappear, like the fairies, just like go into the earth and just disappear and not come out. And then I'm reminded of my mission and I come back out. But anyway, all this time being off, I'm not on much. I'm very digital minimal. And this last break without my computer and stuff has been, I guess it's surprising to me, like how easy it is just to disappear into the real world, into nature. It's so stunningly beautiful right now. It's crazy. So I feel very blessed. Also, it's been really fun. There's like dance parties going on. I saw a 9-piece cumbia band like play at the opening of this music store that relocated. And then my favorite radio station had an indie disco, and it was like I got to see all the Gen X kids, like it was like a homecoming dance or something. It's so fun. And yeah, last night went out dancing. I even hated the music. It was like some sort of tribal bass, like I don't know, I just don't do those drugs. It's like some Burning Man thing, but I went anyway. And honestly, even when I don't like the music, I still dance and I still have fun and I still find people to meet and talk to. So I'm having a great time. So far, I will say 2026, I really was tossing this around in my head most of the fall. I had watched Goonies again, which was one of my favorite movies from way back in the day. And it was actually the movie that I went to my first date with. I was in 5th grade and boy asked me if I wanted to go to a movie, and my mom drove us. And at the time we had like this classic car and it totally broke down. It was so humiliating after the movie. And then she made him like run and go get his father to help because my stepdad was useless. But anyway, a lot of memories with that Goonies. But I'm always like, why isn't life more like Goonies? Like I really always thought, like even as I got older, that would just be like this series of buddy adventures. There'd just be like more players involved with family and kids and stuff like that. But that, we'd still be having these adventures with our pals. And I was just kind of like, God, why isn't it like that? And then the first part of this year has been exactly like that. I had a month-long extended stay with one of my homies down in the desert. That was super fun. Hopefully you watched a little bit of footage. I'm still sitting on all that footage that I filmed for you guys, like from back then. So, and I had started doing rough cuts of stuff. So I am a little sad, like if I can't get if I can't recover the last month's worth of stuff from my laptop. I hadn't done a time machine backup in a while, but I had started doing these rough cuts of that footage, and it would be a bummer to have to start over. Not catastrophic, obviously, I still have it, but you know, just a drag. And I had also like spent all this time assembling like a big file of copyright free sound effects. You guys know I love a little slide whistle or some sort of fire crackling. You know I love the sound effects. Anyway, I had like spent all this time going into season 6, got myself all topped up on really great effects. Just even coming up with the ideas of what to search is like half the creative problem, you know? I'm like, I want an orange squeezing juicy sound, you know? Like some of them I just like making myself too, so maybe that's what I should do. I don't know. So this is where we're at. So then I was in the desert. Then I went to Reno for a couple weeks. Also, another buddy adventure, helping out my homie, just like being helpful, cooking, doing the dishes, being an extra hand, lending an ear, maybe keeping you up too late, drinking a beer, stuff like that. You know, it's like, it's been really great. And I'm here again with a new friend. So the nomadic life is still going. I'm trying not to get spun out by it. It's, as you guys know, it's not my favorite thing. It's just a temporary situation that I've allowed to happen in pursuit of just having a career and an actual life that I love, and, you know, just kind of being adrift in the insane end of the old world, I guess, that we're witnessing. And so I'm here at a new friend's place. She just got back. I feel very fortunate to be here, and I started working. There's a little shop here that I can use, so I started using some of the tools to refinish some wood that I actually salvaged from a burn pile down in the desert, believe it or not. Making some signs, just gearing up for a show. Like, I've got to figure out doing shows out here, you know. That's always been the thing, and I can't do it alone. We know this, but I do got to get my ducks in a row and get sorted, because I'm going out for round 2 of the Pennsylvania Ren Fair this year, which I'm very excited about. And last year I was filling in for somebody. It was my first time doing it, and it went great. But this year I want to actually like really work on it and develop it. And it really takes time, you know. You're just kind of like massaging the thing into shape and making lots of little gimmicks and tricks and effects and little surprise things. That's how a lot of my magic is, what I call stage magic. It's like rigged effects, you know, for my props and puppets and stuff like that. So I'm working on building a new puppet stage. I'm making a sign, a big show sign. I don't know if I'm going to start doing like outdoor stuff, but I've been experimenting with doing big bubbles, you know, for kids, families, outdoor things. Just a couple of like kind of roaming busky things in my back pocket, which I don't usually do. I usually like stage stuff. So anyway, I'm still just trying to prioritize the performing stuff and get my ducks in a row to have my acts lined up. I mean, the other thing was that after being in the desert, I sort of got burnt out and realized that I have been creating in this like panicked, like a state of duress, just because I don't have my own shop, and it's so challenging for me because of my Virgo moon. Man, that bitch will not rest. She just likes shit organized and orderly, and it's just really hard to be in other people's spaces or shops, and I need to leave the... Oh my God, there's wild turkeys passing through. That's so cool. They're so peaceful, those wild turkeys. They're like tiptoe around. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. Anyway, just showbiz talk, talking your ear off about the business of shows, which is my favorite thing. Next to painting, next to writing, all the things. So I just wanted to come on and say hello. Hopefully I can get this uploaded, doing it all in one take here, and just waiting on that dang computer to get fixed, or the new one to arrive, or something to happen, so we can get on with season 6. Season 6 is also dedicated to the year of the fire horse. We're very excited about any change of energy, right? And I got my little bolo tie on about it. So welcome to season, what did I say, 6? 5. It's season 5. It's rolling the seasons over here, but it's 2026, season 5. So how's it going out there? Are you holding up okay? I know my East Coast folks had a rough winter and they're starting to thaw out, and it's just been a beautiful spring out here so far, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. I just kind of, it's like when you let the days just sort of present themselves to you, where I'm just like doing as much as I can do, and then if I get sidetracked or called off on a buddy adventure to help somebody, then I go do that, and then I get back to working on my stuff as much as possible. Oh, I was telling you about how I got burnt out from doing that first show. Partly because I was making 3 new acts on the road at my friend's house, and I was like, I've been here before. I do not like creating on the road. I need to have my stuff ready to go if I'm hitting the road for these little tours and stuff. So, and I have plenty of material that needs the massaging to the next level. I call this you do the 1.0 version of the thing, kind of down and dirty with, thrifted materials, cobbled together, trash, cardboard, whatever it takes. You just get the thing done. And then 2.0, you're starting to professionalize. You're committing a little further to the props. You're gonna, make that paper mache a little nicer, because you're probably gonna have that thing, paying rent for it in a storage unit for 10 freaking years, like till you get your own studio again. So these are the challenges this year that I'm laying the gauntlet down on. I'm asking myself to develop existing material and not create any more new things, to get a lot of stuff up to the next level. And to do that, honestly, I'm fucking a lot heavier than I was after menopause, and also just like wider. I started eating meat after all, like I moved to the country and stuff after 25 years, and just body changes, things change, being closer to where the animals are grown. Originally I was living near factory chicken farms and stuff out on the Eastern Shore in Maryland when I grew up. That was a big factor in me not eating meat for a long time. But also I was a yogi, and kind of living that life and seeing what that was about for a long time. And it served me really well for a long time, but then, things change and you need different things. When that happened, I just got wider, and also after menopause, my friend mentioned this, and I think it's true, but she's like, she's still in perimenopause, so she's like just experiencing it still, but I'm on the other side of it after many years now. But she was like, it's like my hips and my skeleton is just like relaxed, and that accounts for the widening. And I was like, wow, yeah. I mean, it sort of feels like that, when you take all the crazy hormones and stuff out of the equation like that, like lovemaking is much different, like the highs and the drama and all the stuff. It's like you're just like, it's just not, you just kind of have a different relationship to it. And I feel that way about like my whole skeleton too, that it's just kind of like, you just kind of relax, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, this is why I think we've been lied to about aging. Could do a lot on that. So I am thinking of like some topics to discuss on here and give it a little bit more of a shape. I know that I tend to just sort of wing it a lot, and I like having that freedom and just to talk to you about what's going on and give you a glimpse into my life. I think that's really valuable. I say that all the time, I love hearing about other artists and their challenges, how they arrange their life and structure their day, and what their creative process is like, and where their ideas come from, and how they create their special type of delight and wonder in the world. And I like sharing that with you. That's why I'm still persisting, even though it seems like I'm constantly being cock-blocked for some reason with like just being on a regular schedule, and try as I might, it's like it just hasn't worked. And I'm like, I have to just stop fighting it. I've asked so hard and so many prayers for so many years about this world becoming one of reciprocity and of natural rhythms and cycles that are generative and not depleting. And so when you really start rewiring yourself to that, it's like some of that old way just doesn't fit. It's like like the grinding and the like, you know, just meeting hard deadlines just because the algorithm is going to be pissed off if you don't. I mean, excuse me. Smoked a bunch of weed last night. We had fun, but I was up pretty late. Dancing. We went to town actually, which was fun. There's a place called the Crazy Horse Saloon. You know, every town has that place, and yeah, it was fun. Anyway, so I am just both honoring my own rhythm, and just life is just unfolding, and if sometimes there's nothing to show you guys, and sometimes I don't feel like showing anything. Sometimes I feel very reclusive and private. I'm very sensitive about my situation, despite how cheerful I am most of the time, and I do make the most of it, and I try not to complain too much about what God has given me. You know, but it's very challenging, and of course I want it to be different. But like I said, I've just, you know, the re-enchantment of the world, the bringing the magic back so that like you can understand what the daffodils need, or what the trees might need, or how you can be of service in just simple ways. Sometimes it's just your energy and your presence is just enough. And, you know, getting all that back online is mission number one. It's like getting our actual hardwired tether back in communication with the earth. And, you know, I feel that happening, and it's overwhelming. You know, I share all of this also as like a spiritual teacher, because to me that's what being an artist has become. I didn't realize that at the time. No, carpenter bee. I didn't realize at the time that you know, choosing to be an artist and following that path was kind of a monastic choice. Like it's been more of a spiritual seclusion part of it. Like the way that I'm in communication with my creativity, with all that is, with nature, with all of it, has become very integral to how I make my work. And I still want to be making the work that I was making, but now with like awareness of what I'm putting into it, the intention, you know, just the medicine of it is different now. Even though I always believed it was working before I really woke up. But anyway, so I tried to share all this because I didn't really feel like a lot of it I had a roadmap or a guide for, despite being immersed in many spiritual traditions, you know. I mean, I guess that kind of helps. And I am very grateful to yoga for that, because a lot of it, I mean, honestly, you guys, when I started yoga, like all the talk about enlightenment and stuff, I was like, yeah, like that's not for me. I was like, that's for like Jesus and Buddha. Like that has nothing to do with me. Like I'm just trying to be a regular person, staying in good shape and getting a little bit better every day. You know, like I was like, I'm not trying to be a monk here. And then lo and behold. Anyway, another part of life lately that I will just share, because I'm still taking some time to read Martin Shaw's book. For those of you that are also followers of my blog and on Substack, you can find me there, Artist in the Wild, Trixie Little also, and you might enjoy. Sometimes if I can't get on here, I can write over there. So if you're wondering what's going on with me and you miss me, and if absence really does make the heart grow fonder, then stay right where you are and don't do a thing. But if you miss me ever and you want to go find out what's going on, try there. And I wrote about a little pilgrimage I took on the way back from the desert to go hear a talk by one of my, I guess, creative inspirations. In this age, it's so weird how you can have like a teacher on the internet who doesn't even know that they're your teacher. Isn't that weird? Like his influence on me, Martin Shaw's influence on me and my work. He's a mythologist and a storyteller who I've been following since COVID, and I took his storytelling course that I found back then when I was like trying to figure out how to pivot from doing really physical acrobatic stuff to like, you know, I always consider myself a physical storyteller, but I was like, maybe a pivot as my body's changing and a deepening into how I'm doing things. Maybe this is an aspect that I should start taking more seriously, is actually the oral storytelling part. Anyway, so that was my thinking when I first started studying with him, and then really appreciated his work. And he's out there a lot. There's a lot on YouTube. He has his own channel called Jawbone. Does great stuff. And also he has a Substack, House of Beast and Vine, and he also had a podcast during COVID called Smoke Hole. So I've literally for a long time I was listening to everything he put out twice. You know, I just couldn't get enough. And then he had this kind of conversion to Christianity, which I appreciate. My grandparents were devout. My father died a Catholic. Like, he became one later in life, not when I grew up, but later. You know, so I'm down with Jesus, you know, but it is always kind of like, oh, really? Let's see what this is about, you know, because I'm just, the absence, you know, if the women were involved, the stories would be different. There'd be a lot more messiness, a lot more romance. Just be like blood and stuff and fluids and sex and love scenes, and there'd just be other stuff. Like, women have other priorities, you know, and I just feel like there's still this absence that I'm just like, I can't, I don't know. And aside from that, I just find the whole prudishness around sexuality and our bodies, and it's like the whole piety thing that usually comes with it. Like, oh, now I have to be kind of repressed because I'm a Christian and that means certain things. And I actually just think that's all bullshit, because I think Jesus was very radical, you know? So I think like walking that path, I'm just like, I think it looks different, you guys. Like, I understand you like gathering in a church and eating cookies and it's real sweet, and, you know, but I think it's like, you know, table flipping, searing truth and integrity also. I will say. So I don't know, it's been a whole thing, you know. I'm thinking a lot about that, and I went to go see him. The piece that I wrote about was called The Risk of Meeting Our Heroes, and I was genuinely like, oh my god, I could go meet this guy and actually hate him and like lose him as an inspiration. Oh my god. And I didn't at the lecture, but I will say that I have not loved the beginning of the book. Like, I'm in the middle now, and it's the kind of thing where the chapters are pretty dense, and he usually does tell a fairy tale, and you usually do want to sit with that a little bit. So I'm not just like racing through the book, but I'm like, I listened to him do a fireside oral storytelling, which is his first art. And I was just like, well, there he is. Like, I've been waiting for that dude to show up in the fucking book. Like, so I'm formulating, like, I'm really sitting with what it is that I'm not totally loving. And I'm probably gonna have to read it again a second time. But anyway, these are fun things to get into, you know, where you really kind of like wrestle with what it is. Because then, of course, for me as an artist, I'm like, well, whatever that is, that's the hole I have to fill. Like, that's my version of the story that needs to be told. If I'm restless about how someone else is doing it and like what's missing and what's wrong with it, then you can't complain like that unless you're prepared to do it better, you know? It's how I feel about it, because it's hard to create things and it's very easy to criticize. And I think in my youth, you know, I was overly critical. That Virgo moon side, I mean, the shadow side of Virgo is that sort of criticism, which crippling criticism, you know. Sometimes people tell you something that stops you in your tracks and makes you believe that you can't do a thing, and then you don't even try. Decades go by, and that's just the story. It's just a concretized story that, you know, we got to be very careful about that stuff. You want to stay really resilient for the sake of your heart. You don't want to forget those things. You know, it's never too late. Start singing, start dancing, start playing an instrument, start sharing poetry, start just loving life all the way. All right, I think that's everything for now. Can you just believe how beautiful it is right here, just with these sweet little daffodils? They always remind me of my grandmother, Edna. She had a bunch of daffodils in her front yard and she loved them. Also, I heard a story recently about Saint David being related to daffodils. And David was my father's name. So I don't know. I hadn't heard that before, but it's kind of fun to think about your departed loved ones in the spring and that they're always with us. It's pretty special. This beautiful old world. Okay, y'all. Hopefully I won't disappear again for long. Hopefully we can get into this dang season. I have so much I want to go through with you. So much to experience. Okay, bye for now.